Yeah. You could tell. You could tell. Okay.
Welcoming everyone. Before I play the actual 911 call from the day Maddie went missing, I just want to welcome people in. So This live stream is, as you can tell, it's a Madeline Soto one. It's been over a year since I did any content for Maddie. Maddie had just turned 13. It was her 13th birthday on the 22nd of February 2024. And on the Sunday, the 25th, her grandmother threw a birthday party for her. Maddie's mum, Jenn, had just started a new job and she claimed that she couldn't get time off work to go to Maddie's 13th birthday. So Maddie had her 13th birthday at her grandmother's place without her mother attending. Her aunt Stephanie dropped her home at about 8:30 that evening back to their townhouse in Kissimmee, Florida. And that was the last time anyone outside of that house saw Maddie. That's one of the big bones of contention when it comes to Jenn Soto. Not only, now I believe that Maddie's school finished at around 4 p.m. I think it was, in fact, it was something like 4:03. Someone who's got a better memory than me might be able to help me out. This is stuff that I will be going through in later live streams. But Maddie's school... Am I talking because you have no sound? Does anyone else have sound? Can I have a 1 if you can hear me? I don't... have I got no sound at all? Any sound? That's a no. Oh, Grover's put a 1 in. Okay. Maybe someone can type in. Maybe Dodie might want to go out and come back in again. Sorry about that. Maddie finished school around, I think the school got out around 4:04 or 4:03. It was a weird time. It was like a few minutes after 4. Now, Jenn had left the townhouse super early so that she could be at the front of the pickup line, meaning that she'd been sitting at the front of the pickup line for close to an hour waiting for Maddie. Now, you would think that if you were at the front of the pickup line, there'd be no way you would miss your daughter coming out of school. And there'd be no way that she'd miss your vehicle. But Jenn waited less than 10 minutes at the front of the pickup line before deciding that she must have missed Maddie. So she didn't want to hold up the pickup traffic. Now, this is something I'm going to dig into more in another live stream. But rather than circling around and going into the car park and waiting in the car park, even if she was holding up the pickup traffic, but just like any other regular school, there is the lane where parents wait. And then, of course, there's still room for people to drive past. So it's not like people couldn't leave once they picked up their children. So apparently, that's what I believe. Yeah. You don't miss your children in the pickup line. And at Maddie's school, you really don't miss the children in the pickup line because it runs directly along the front of the school. It's not out on the road. It's part of the school. But Jenn decided after it was 6 or 7 minutes that she must have missed Maddie. So she headed off to her mum's office down the road, thinking, well, maybe Maddie thought that she had to go to my mother's place. Maybe Maddie thought I wasn't picking her up. And when she got there, she was told, well, it's too early. Maddie would still be walking if she's walking here. So then Jenn apparently went and parked down the road for a while, waiting to see if Maddie was going to come and walk along the road. And then she eventually returned back to her mother's office. And it was actually Jenn's sister, or stepsister, because I think it was Letitia, who called 911. It wasn't Jenn who called 911. And this was at 4:43 p.m. So at least 40 minutes after Maddie should have gotten out of school. Just want to point out that at the time when this 911 call was made, oh, right, yeah, fire regulations. Yeah. It's not like they can have school driveways where just every car is just blocking the driveway. You've got to be able to have room to pass. Now, when Letitia rang 911 at 4:43, Jenn and her mother were just deciding then to go back to the school to try and find out if anyone knew where Maddie was. So Jenn hadn't contacted the school. Jenn hadn't gone back to the school. Didn't even occur to her. And I have always believed that, in fact, it was her mother who said, well, we need to go back to the school and check. But of course, by the time they got there, the school was closed up, aside from the after-school care program. So Jenn sent an email about the same time as this to one of Maddie's teachers to find out if Maddie had been in school, and was told no, Maddie hadn't been in school. Jenn Soto has never been charged. And that's one of the main reasons why I do want to start touching on Maddie's case again, because I really want to dig deep into Jenn's role in this. And even putting the clips together for this live stream, I look at it again and I find myself utterly horrified that Jennifer Soto has not been charged over what happened to Maddie. It is the first thing you would do. Why would you just wait 6-7 minutes in the pickup line and then just drive off and just go, well, I must have missed her? And I want to point out too that at Maddie's school, they have staff who man the pickup line. So the cars have tags that they have to hang. Me too, because of the fact that she basically handed Maddie over to that creep. Now, see, the cars have tags that they have to display in the pickup line. And there is a staff member who mans the pickup line. And if they see that a car is there waiting for a student and that student's not there, then they will radio through for the child to be called to the pickup line. So all Jenn had to do was actually just sit there in her car. And then someone would have radioed through and there would have been an announcement put over for Maddie to go to the pickup line. Failing that, like I said, if Jenn wanted to move out of the pickup line because she was concerned, then she could have doubled around, parked in the car park, and walked into the office. Yeah, apparently there are tags that they have to show in the front windscreen of their vehicle. I think it's so long since I've researched that with the case, but I was looking at protocols for pickup for Maddie's school, and it's really clearly outlined that you have this tag that you've got to display on your vehicle during pickup, and that they will radio through and call the child through to your car, essentially. Yeah, I'm gonna dig as much as I can into Jenn Soto. I had to stop after Stephan Sterns pled no contest over Maddie's death. I was devastated because it didn't feel like justice to me, especially given what he did. And you know, everything that he did. The guy was up for the DP. Had he gone to trial, there was a possibility of him getting the DP. This was a huge crime. He put Maddie through hell for 6 or 7 years. And he was allowed to plead no contest. I was absolutely shattered because I had been covering her case. I was living her case, just like I was Lily and Jack. I'd been covering her case daily for over a year. And I was confident that we were going to see full justice for Maddie. And I also believed that when Sterns' trial was over, that Jennifer Soto was going to be arrested. So for Sterns to be allowed to plead no contest, and then to wait and wait and wait for Jenn to be arrested, I think so many other people were too. I was shattered. And I had to walk away from the case. Yes, there were 2 staff from the school. One wasn't a teacher. He was he worked in the after school care program, but I don't think he was an actual teacher. The other teacher was Maddie's music teacher. Oh, wow, how did I miss that? Probably because I was so focused on on Lee and Jack. That is a huge relief. It should be. It should have been. He should not have got off so easily. I don't care if it's 21 life sentences and he's not getting out. He was actually up on 60 charges. And I understand how it all works when you negotiate a plea deal. Part of that is that they drop some of the charges. So I'm not bitching so much about it dropping back to 21 charges. But the thing that upset me so much was basically the ultimate charge, the one that he should have got the death penalty for. He didn't even have to face any repercussions over it. No contest. And then, and Deborah, you are so spot on. We sat there, we listened to all these victim impact statements from the people who cared so deeply about Maddie. And then Stephan was given the last statement. And what came out of his mouth sounded like it was a victim impact statement himself. Feel sorry for me because I dearly loved Maddie and I don't want her to be gone, essentially. Horrible, horrible. I love that saying, really frosted my buns. I've never heard it before either, but I'm going to use it from now on. Those staff members were arrested for CSAM kind of stuff. I think the music teacher had been, was he the one that had been communicating on Roblox? I think he was, and he was asking little boys to do things on camera for him. Anyway, I don't want to focus on that. Good to see you in here, Summer Breeze. Good to see everybody else who's come in, and if I haven't greeted you, welcome. Women's Warrior, I will say this now because you've just reminded me. On the 8th, when I do one of our evening live streams, one of our Aussie evening live streams, and I'm going to send a message to Dom about this. I'm not sure if he'll get it because I know the closer we get to the anniversary for Biddy, the harder it's going to be. But on the 8th, so in 2 days, not tonight, 2 days from tonight, I just want to do a bit of a celebration of life for Biddy Porter. I'll just bring the picture up. If you haven't seen, I did a live stream about a week ago about Biddy Porter, and I'm just stepping away from Maddie's case for just a moment to mention this because I forgot. Biddy, her life was taken by her, I nearly said, oh, look, feck it. This isn't actually a Biddy video, so let's just say it. Her life was taken by her 14-year-old cousin. She was 10. And I know I probably shouldn't have repeated that, but because this isn't specifically about Biddy, I'm guessing it probably won't be noticed that I've said that. It was brutal, and Biddy's parents were silenced for 4 years. They could not talk about her case. They could not mention her name in relation to the case because the Supreme Court in New South Wales decided that if Biddy's name was known in relation to the horrible, horrible crime, that the identity of the 14-year-old responsible for her death would then be revealed. So in order to protect the person who did the most horrible, horrible crime to this beautiful little girl, they basically took away Biddy's name. Her case was meant to be sealed for 20 years. And Dom and Rebecca, her parents, who've gone through the worst trauma possible, were basically left to go through the trauma alone. If you go through my live streams, I'll add a link for this. It is one that I highly recommend watching. It is one of the biggest failures of the Australian legal justice system, if you ask me. Anyway, Dom and Rebecca finally managed to be able to say Biddy's name, be able to tell her story. but that was after, I think, 4 years. Now, we've had the beginning of the coroner's inquest last month, and that's been adjourned until November. Now, I haven't found out exactly why it has been adjourned until November. Those sort of questions are ones that I'm a bit uncertain about asking Dom, because I know that, oh, cool, email me, because I'm just wondering in terms of, I'm not sure if coming so close that he's even going to be capable of emailing me back. So email me with anything Dom has let you know. That's for sure. Yeah, so basically the inquest has been adjourned until November. So I know that we have the anniversary of Biddy's death coming up. She should have been 16 now. She should have been enjoying that magical year of, like, year 10, which is, one of those, the best years of school. Year 10, 11, 12, the best years, because you're starting to find your identity, you're starting to find your real people, and she's missing all that. So I do want to do a live stream on the evening of the 8th, just as a sort of a celebration of Biddy. I haven't really thought about how I want to make that look. But just I wanted to mention that now while I remember. And yes, I will do my best to be, well, I will definitely have to do everything, respectfully for Dom and Rebecca. Yeah. Anyway, back to Maddie. So my plan for Maddie, my main focus going forward is going to be Jennifer Soto. We can't change the outcome with Stephan Sterns. And I get so angry about Stephan Sterns. And I think if I focus too much on Stephan Sterns, then it brings back that whole upset of it feels like he got a freebie over Maddie's life. But I do feel that people need to be still demanding justice for Maddie, demanding that Jennifer Soto be held accountable. So Mondays, and I think it'll probably be every Monday. Mondays are going to be my Maddie Mondays. When I come back to Maddie's case and I focus on Maddie's case. Yes, the mother was on something. Legally prescribed medications, apparently. But even that's a bit interesting. She has bipolar. She claimed that she missed her medications the night before she sent Maddie upstairs to sleep with Stephan. And she claims that because she'd missed her medications, she was a bit off while she was at work, and that people at work had even noticed that she wasn't her usual self. The ridiculous thing with that is it was a new job. They wouldn't know what her usual self was. But not only that, when you're talking about medications for something like bipolar, if you miss one, it's not going to have a huge effect on you if you then take them on time the following night. Not only that, Jenn didn't have to work the following day. It's not like if she had a disturbed night's sleep because Maddie moved around in her sleep, then it's not like she couldn't just sleep in the morning. Which is the not true, Unky or Unky. Not true as in that if you miss one, you're not going to feel it, or not true as in that you are going to. If you can clarify, because this has been one of the big debates for us with Jenn as to, I mean, it's my belief that, or it was my understanding that if she missed one med, it wasn't going to have a huge impact on her. If she then hadn't got herself up to date. So if you can fill us in on that. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because, yeah, zero impact. These are slow release medications. And they're designed to pass through the blood-brain barrier, so that when you start taking medications for something like that, what happens is, at first, you don't get the exact effects. It takes a while for them to really start working properly. Yes, it's exactly like if you are taking antidepressants. One dose, nothing happens, because it's the way they build up in your system over time. They are designed to be safe. You know, you can't have medications where, especially if you have something like bipolar, where if you are not medicated, that can send you into a major upper or a major downer. They're not designed to just suddenly stop working less than 24 hours after the last dose. They're a cumulative medication. So Jen's story of, well, I was not feeling right because I forgot to take my meds the night before. But not only that, she claims that she only realised when she was just about to go to bed that she hadn't taken her meds the night before. Apparently, one of the meds that she was taking was one that helps her sleep. Now, I know that because I have ADHD, I have medication for my ADHD, and I have medication that I take at night time so that I should be able to sleep. Now, yeah, they're not hugely effective if I can't turn my brain off. But I know by about 1 o'clock in the morning if I've not taken my medication. So the fact that Jen's claiming that it took her 24 hours to realise that she hadn't taken her meds the night before is BS. Because she would have had zero sleep the night before if she'd missed her meds, given that she was also taking meds that helped her sleep. So there's so many inconsistencies with Jen's story. And the way she just so casually mentioned to people, yeah, you know, Maddie would sleep with Stephan. Yeah. The fact that she was okay with it. So what I'm doing in this live stream is kind of like an overview up to the point of when Maddie was found. And what I'm going to do with it is basically use a little bit of body cam footage and some of the news media footage. And I'm just going to go through that. So I'm giving an overview of the case for the people who are not familiar with Maddie's case. And then in future live streams, yeah, quite possible. Quite possible. I think, yeah, oh my gosh. And when she said that, she actually said in one of her interviews that what Stephan had been doing to Maddie for 6 or 7 years before he finally took her life, that wasn't evil. She also said that she had said to Stephan that she hoped that it didn't become a Woody Allen situation. And that she hoped it didn't become a Woody Allen situation and he didn't end up choosing Maddie over her. Oh, you've got a good memory. I could never remember the name of the stuff. Ziprasidone. Is that the sleep one? I just remember some of the medications I didn't know what they were, and I remember people telling me these are full-on medications. Anyway, I'm going to play the 911 call, and then I'm going to move on to some of, I think, I'm not sure if I've got the body camera footage next or if it's media. I know she was on a medication for her bipolar, but she was also on medication for sleep. Oh, antipsychotic, that's right. Bipolar and antipsychotic. Which it would be a bit of a knockout kind of one, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to play the 911 call and we'll go from there. And I've got a lot of media lined up here, but oh yeah. And I'll come back to that in half a sec. I've got a lot of media lined up here, but my plan with Maddie's case is to do it a lot like what we're doing now, is to go through all this media and stuff, go through the timeline, go through the story, but also just to do these discussions, bring up the things that we've noticed, highlight the things that stood out to us, because these are the things that, for people who don't know Maddie's case, will help them understand the case a bit more. Now, Maddie, she was giving her hydroxyzine for sleep. The thing is with hydroxyzine, it is it's a allergy kind of medication. But it is one of these medications that does cross the blood-brain barrier, which is, why it's used sometimes for sleep, because it can make you drowsy. These sort of medications are not safe. for the developing brain. The brain doesn't actually even reach full size until the age of 16. And it is still developing until midway into the 20s. So when you give a 13-year-old child hydroxyzine, that is actually going to impact on how their brain develops. And she was giving Maddie this every night. Now, the research about hydroxyzine and the impact on the developing brain is based on children who are not given it every night, children who are given it, when it's needed to deal with allergy issues. Because it's not something that should have been given on a nightly basis. So if we're having children whose brains are being affected, the development of their brain is being affected from irregular use of hydroxyzine, can you imagine what it was doing to poor little Maddie? Yeah. I also wonder if one of the things that came out, and I don't think I covered it on my channel, but I know Paula spoke about it. He had got some mail order medication just prior to Maddie's death that was like a really, really strong medication that would have knocked her out if he'd given it to her. Yeah, the cause of death was strangulation. There was a broken hyoid bone in her neck. So painful to think. Yes. You have an amazing memory. Yeah. I'm not even able to pronounce that, but that's what Stephan had got by mail just before all this happened. You're taking hydroxyzine to help you sleep, and it was a significantly lower dose than what Jenn states Maddie was taking, and it put you out of it. Yeah. It's no wonder Jenn claims that Maddie was groggy at the morning. They were messing. It was the whole Judy Garland thing. Let's give her ADHD meds of a morning, get her on an upper, but then she crashes before the end of the school day. She doesn't make it through the school day. And then we'll medicate her again when she goes to sleep. Which was so convenient for Stephan Sterns. Okay, let's go with this.
Emergency.
It's
And do you need police, fire, or medical?
police possibly. I'm reporting a missing child.
Okay. And the child that you're trying to report missing, are you calling on behalf of the parent?
Yes, on behalf of the mother. She's my
Okay. Okay. And then and ma'am, how old is the child? And could I go ahead and get her name?
Yes,
And is she white, black, or Hispanic?
she's white.
Okay.
Blonde
And
hair, dirty blonde hair, blue eyes.
okay, hold on with me here. And then what color shirt and pants was she last seen wearing?
Hold on, let me ask. Then, what color shirt and what was she last wearing? Hold on, we're finding out.
Okay, and then how long has it been, though, since you guys have last seen her?
Since this morning. She was dropped off at school this morning, and apparently she never showed up. We called everyone we knew. No one's seen her.
Okay. And then, so, ma'am, I just want to confirm, though, was she last seen from this address? Is this where you guys last saw her?
No. She was last seen at the church next to Hunters Creek Middle School. I think it's called Peace Church. I'm not sure of the exact address. She was wearing a dark green hoodie, I believe.
What is the name of the church?
I think it's. I'm pretty sure it's called Peace Church. It's the one right next to Hunters Creek Middle School. It's the. Well, no.
Got it. It's across the street from it?
I believe so. Yeah. There's two. I just forgot about the other one. It's not Focal Point Church. It's.
Well, is it Peace United Methodist Church?
Yes.
Okay.
That one.
Okay. Is she diagnosed with any medical, mental conditions at all?
I know she takes medication for ADHD, and I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay. Sorry, bear with me here. And is she known to carry anything on her person, like a pocket knife, pepper spray, anything at all like that?
No,
okay.
No, nothing like that.
Does she have a cell phone that she might keep on her person?
She doesn't. She had one, but she left it at home conveniently today.
Okay. And just so we recognize you when we arrive there, though, at the advance to come meet with you guys, are you, ma'am, white, black, Indian, Asian, or Hispanic?
I'm Hispanic.
And what color shirt and pants will you be wearing?
Pants, dark wash jeans. I have a green cardigan on and a white shirt.
Thank you. And I just need to verbally confirm this all. Do you have any at all weapons on your person?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. And are you going to be waiting for us inside?
Yeah. I'll come outside. I just see through glass. So I'll see when you guys show up.
Okay, perfect then. So then I'll get a call placed for service. We'll have deputies out there to come and make a report with you and to come and assist with trying to find your. Okay.
Okay. Her mother and they're going to the school to double check and everything, but from what we know, she wasn't there. So they should be back soon too, because it's right next to the school.
Yeah, that's fine. So if at least one of you remains there, though, to meet with an officer, that's more than fine, okay?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, then. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, and I'll go ahead and let you go. We'll be out there as quickly as we can, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye, ma'am.
So that was, I think it was Letitia, Maddie's aunt, who was Jen's stepsister. I found it interesting. Now, good point in terms of, at least she said that Maddie didn't show up, as opposed to Jenn with Maddie didn't make it. And there is a lot of that sort of language from Jenn and Stephan. I find it interesting that clearly Jenn never told her family that she was giving Maddie the hydroxyzine. She was also giving Maddie regular medication, and I hate even talking about this with the medication, but I think, you need the full picture here. She was giving Maddie regular medication to help her stay regular. And when you know what Stephan was doing to her, that's quite often something that occurs in those sort of situations. Yeah, when you hear Jenn giving her story, it is so verbatim. It is so much I'm going to start calling it the Candace effect, because it takes me back to Candace Wells, Bly, whatever she calls herself, when she was reciting about Summer going missing. You know, I went to the shop and I bought an orange and a lemon and a carrot, and I didn't really do this. That's why it's taking me so long. Just the reciting something because it's not real. Yeah. In that respect, they did. But at the same time, I heard someone mention once that Maddie must have hit that karma button pretty damn hard because Stephan had the flat tire when he was going to the location where he left Maddie. And I've always believed that had he not got that flat tire, that he was headed for one of the lakes in the area where there were alligators. He was headed for a location, I believe, where he thought they would never find Maddie. So I do believe that this comment that Maddie hit the karma button really hard is probably quite true. Because had he not got that flat tire, it's possible we may never have had Maddie found, and we certainly wouldn't have had the witness drive past and see him changing the tire. Not only that, but the night after, not the direct night after, but the following night when him and Jenn were locked out of the townhouse and had to stay in a hotel, he made a trip. He left Orlando at around 2 o'clock in the morning, and he made a trip all the way down to Northport to his parents' house. And he was trying to access his Google Drive at his parents' house. Unfortunately for Stephan, the intersection as you approach the sort of subdivision where his parents live, in that location there'd been a car accident. So they actually ended up getting Jen's car on camera because of I think it was either on a body-worn camera or on a police, it might have been on a plate, a tag reader or something. But because the police were present for this accident, they caught Jen's car on camera entering the area. And then, of course, FBI did a check and it showed him logging in or attempting to log in to his Google account at his parents' place down at Northport. So 2 times that the karma just came and smacked him in the face really hard. He never would have said where Maddie was. Now, honestly, the guy who reported seeing the vehicle, was it Thomas Karras or Walter Karras? I can't remember his first name. He drove past. He saw Stephan changing the tyre of the vehicle, and he said that it looked like Stephan had ducked down behind the vehicle when he drove past. And he thought it looked out of place. Thomas Karras. Now, he saw the news, the press conference after they had arrested Stephan for the stuff that was on his phone. She was found in St. Cloud, which was, how far is it from the townhouse to St. Cloud? That was about half an hour or something, isn't it? Now, this guy saw the the press conference, and they were asking, if you have seen this vehicle, we want to know. And they're pointing out, we believe this vehicle got a flat tyre at the time that Stephan was 20 to 30 minutes, depending on traffic. Thank you. They said, we believe he got the flat tyre at the time that he was taking Maddie's body somewhere. So if you saw this vehicle, let us know. Now, this angel of a man, Thomas Karras, he had driven past, he'd seen Stephan Sterns. So he called in a tip. He rang the tip line. He said, I have seen this vehicle. This is where I saw the vehicle. He looked like he was changing the tyre. Well, the person on dispatch wanted to know the actual address. And he said, I can give you a description of the location, but I can't give you an exact address. This is where I saw it. This is where it happened. And the person on dispatch said, well, that's not enough information. That's no use to us. And they hung up on him. Now, some people, to be told that, would be like, well, they don't want to know. They don't care. And they would think, what do I do next? Am I going to continue getting rejected if I try and ring again, or if I try and follow up? No. What he did, he drove to the exact location. He stopped and he took photos of the location, including photos of the shipping containers at the location, so he could show precisely where the location was. And then he drove down the road to the command centre, which was, I think it was at an old school or something. Yeah, there was confusion between Old Hickory Tree and Hickory Tree. He drove to the command centre down the road, which was where they were basing for their search, because that's where they were searching the area. And he went up to one of the officers there and said, I saw him. I tried to call it in. I've taken photos so you can find the location. And he gave them the photos, and I think he also gave them GPS from memory, because there wasn't an actual, address thing. So he persisted. He made sure that law enforcement got the information, and they went there and they found Maddie. She was in a paddock under a line of bamboo trees, and just discarded. Given the location, given how out of the way it was, had it not been for him, Maddie might not have been found. Yeah, he was. There are some truly good people in the world. There really are. Okay, I'm going to play the next clip. And from looking at it, I think this is... So I've just played the 911 call. I'm going to move on to one of the body-worn camera videos from when they went to Jen's mum's work after Maddie had been reported missing. Now, at the time that the 911 call was put in, there were apparently a couple of other kids who were off missing somewhere. So it actually took 3 hours for them to get to Jen's mum's office to follow up, which is a huge delay. Huge delay when it comes to a missing child, and I still cannot condone that in any way. You can't tell me that your entire police office was out sorting this other issue of children who were just in a playground somewhere. You can't tell me that when you have someone saying our child never went to school, that it takes 3 hours to respond. Not acceptable. Now, what's interesting with this is that while they were waiting, Letitia rang, I think also the mother. Why can't I think of her name? Letitia rang one more time. The mother rang one more time to find out what the delay was. I have to dig out my pictures of the memorial. I have got them saved in my Google Drive. It was amazing. Yolanda, thank you. I had the Zambrero or whatever my brain is mush in terms of it's so long since I've talked about Maddie's case. But it was Yolanda and Letitia who kept ringing dispatch and saying, where are they? It wasn't Jenn. Yeah, I can't show them today because I'd have to go and find them, but I will definitely show them in my next Maddie live stream because I think people need to understand just how loved this little girl was by the community. Yeah. That's the thing. That 3-hour delay, given that Stephan had been in cleanup mode for the entire day, it gave him even more time, and it basically pushed back all the other things. It pushed back all the other investigative things, all the footage that they could have seen and could have sped things up a bit. I just think the delay is unacceptable.
So they called since I don't even know when, but what did you say that what did you call? My question is not why is it not a code 3 when it first came out? Yeah, so that last time she was seen, it was early this morning, like 7 o'clock. That's what I'm about to see. I'm about to go check. I just try to get as much information now of her clothing description, send it to Diaz. Diaz has a hit in like a big area full of kids. So if you want to help me out with this one, give me my signal expert.
Yeah, before they go in, I just point that out. Thanks for reminding me, Grover. You could see the time. It was 7:42 when they turned up. And they turned up after the ex-boyfriend of one of the sisters, and I think it was Stephanie, actually went to the park where they were looking for these other kids and basically said, we've got a missing child. We've been waiting for someone to turn up. And the other body cam footage, which I'm not showing in this video, in this live stream, you can see them following him to the office. So they actually followed his car back to the office. And I have to say, there was this guy who came out with a channel, and at first it seemed like his content was, he only did a few videos. He was playing around with a lot of, flashy stuff. And one of the claims he made was that something about they were doing a drug deal outside the office when the police arrived, because you could see this guy jump out of the car and run inside. No. Had he actually familiarised himself with the case, he would know that this is the ex-boyfriend of one of the sisters who had just arrived, because he had literally gone and got the police and got them to come and take this missing persons report. Yeah, she was betrayed by her own mother. The fact that Jenn was sending Maddie to sleep with this monster is unforgivable. Yeah. 3 hours is ridiculous. I mean, it wouldn't have helped Maddie, but yeah. I know. And I'm glad you mentioned that now, because I should point that out to people before we watch the rest of this. They're talking to Jenn about, how they might be able to trace Maddie. And they ask about her laptop. And I think Jenn says that her laptop was turned off or something like that. And Stephanie says, I think it was Stephanie said, yes, but they can still track it. And the look on Jenn's face, I thought the detectives were next level. I'm a huge fan of Moira Tagler. And Detective Frank Hunt. And I have to pause when I say his name, because otherwise, if you say it too fast, it comes across badly. Huge fan of the detectives in this case. Most of them. Okay. Watch Jenn's reaction when they start talking about the laptop.
By any chance, does she have a phone number or a phone?
She does, but she left it at home today. I have it.
You have it.
And I've already gone through her messages.
Okay. How about, does she have like an Apple Watch? No.
She's got a device. The only device she's got on her right now is her school laptop.
A school laptop? Is that trackable?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
It should be. It should be. Like, if the Wi-Fi is turned on, it'll try to connect to the Wi-Fi. So by like circle here. It connects to any of the
I think the other body cam footage shows it better, but you do see a change in Jenn's face. Notice also, as soon as they said, if the Wi-Fi is turned on, Jenn started swaying. This is a big tell with Jenn. She does the swaying a lot.
Possibly, I don't know. She got dropped off. She was like, so she's embarrassed by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away so she can walk.
She's in this thing. She's in the face.
But he dropped her off half a block away and drove away.
Okay. Did she ever go to school though?
No, we called school.
She was walking in that direction. She was rifling through her backpack, just looking for something. I thought maybe she was just looking for headphones before she got her walking on.
Yeah.
But she was just kind of, shambling over in that direction. It looked the same as any other morning. Okay.
One thing that Stephan does a lot is he has to establish his ownership over Maddie. And the way he does that is by basically, even though they're asking Jenn these questions, he has to butt in. Because to him, he's got this ownership over Maddie, so he has to be a part of this. He has to give the answers. Yeah, Maddie does look a lot like Jenn. I think, though, in the younger photos, she looks more like Tyler. Hi, Princess Pillow, welcome in. Honestly, I do not understand why Jenn is not locked up.
What was the last thing you asked?
If she went to school, I think that's what it was.
So I got confirmation from the school that she never made it. They sent me an email saying she didn't make it. But I also spoke to her or emailed one of her teachers directly, and he looked at all her attendance for all her periods and told me she would make it at all today.
Okay.
Say it again? No, she's supposed to have a book bag. She was supposed to go to school, but didn't go to school today.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Battery FGOA 212319 Turtleback Blue. Third party for Saturday.
Okay.
Complaint
All right.
Children
Cool.
by two juvenile males. Your request is 10.5 only. It's code 219.5.
I'm trying to figure out secondary spots, but so far negative on anything. Yeah, you could be 51 to me. Alright, cool. Very cool. Alright, cool.
Maddie was battling major anxiety. She was having what sounds like panic attacks at school. She was not in a safe space. And one of the heartbreaking things with this case is that because Jenn was starting this new job, Maddie had been... Occasionally, Maddie would stay at her grandmother's house. So I believe Maddie actually had her own room at her grandmother's house, although she preferred to sleep in her grandmother's bed with her, presumably because it made her feel safe. Yeah. Yeah, let's not go down the track of the music teacher right now. So Maddie did get to spend time at her grandmother's house, sleeping overnight sometimes. That week, Maddie had been... Now, I think it was the Saturday before Maddie's birthday. Maddie had been in tears with her grandmother because she didn't want to go home. But Yolanda had to work. So she actually asked her ex-husband, who is Maddie's grandfather, Juan Soto. She asked Juan if he could take Maddie for the day because Maddie was in tears that she didn't want to go home. And that's one of the things that is so heartbreaking with this case. Given that Maddie didn't want to go home, given that Maddie, after her party, was essentially going to be home for at least 2 hours before Jenn got home from work. If only Yolanda had said, let Maddie stay here Sunday night and we can get her to school Monday morning. Jenn's like, well, the detectives asked her if you were getting home so late and you needed sleep, why couldn't she stay with her grandmother And Jenn was like, well, I wanted more time with Maddie. When we go through Jenn's account of Sunday evening, she has about 5 different versions of when she got home. And it is my belief that she did not actually see Maddie when she got home Sunday evening. So Maddie was sent home for Stephan, in my opinion. All right. I think it was Saturday before the party that she stayed and went to Burger King with Juan. And then she didn't want to go home on Sunday after the party. Thank you, Summer Breeze. Very much appreciated. Always helps my channel immensely. There's so many lessons to be learned from Maddie's case. And that's one of the other reasons why I've always wanted to come back to it. Because there are so many sliding door moments with this case. And I think, you know, this is one of the reasons why I cover these cases. I was saying the other day how much these cases affect me. But the reason I do it is because it's public awareness. It's teaching people. It's just, we need to talk about these cases so that people know when things don't look right. So that people see where there are things that need to be changed in terms of laws and things like that. And also just to speak out for the victims, because so often you get a case like this with Maddie where the mother's not going to speak out. It's up to us. I think so many people, just like Lily and Jack, with Maddie's case, so many of us felt like Maddie became our child because it seems like Jenn never cared. You know, so that's why I do this. And with Maddie's case, there are so many lessons here to be learned. Anyway, I'll keep going with this.
Yeah, it said negative on that hit at the park. So.
Green hoodie.
I think black shorts.
It's also black shorts and white Crocs with socks.
No further information. 1064, 1946.
And when was the last time you seen her? Do you know around what time?
Around 8:30, 8:40 when we dropped her off.
How tall is she?
5'1",
Weight.
110 pounds,
About 110, 100.
Hair color.
blonde.
Blonde, like a dirty blonde.
Like a dirty blonde.
Like that.
Okay. Eye color.
Blue.
Does she have any markings on her, like any scars or
She
anything
has
like that?
a distinctive beauty mark on her face
On her
here.
face?
On the face, like below the nose or near the nose.
Yeah, like right in that area there. It's very distinctive. You'd know it if you saw it.
Any other scars or anything like that? Would you know?
Scars?
No.
Tattoos.
Tattoos? No.
You'd be surprised. Did you put out the description?
I put the top part out. I didn't get the rest of the stuff here, so I need to put it out.
County 3042. Updated 14. White female.
Can I just see that phone?
Black shorts. White Crocs with socks. Approximately 5'1".
I'll just pause there for a minute. I haven't heard of Florencia DeMarco, but I'm going to look into that now. I don't ever recall finding out the GPS location on the cell tower from where Sterns supposedly went to Publix and got her a pub sub that he ate. And I'll go through that in a live stream. What was released to us in the FOIA documents, with all the cell tower stuff, didn't show Stephan going anywhere other than it shows his phone appearing in the location, and it seems like it was kind of stationary for a while before it went to the townhouse. And the location where it was, to me, looks like he was essentially stalking, waiting for Stephanie to take Maddie home so that he could turn up after Stephanie had gone. There's certainly nothing that appears on what we were given that shows him going anywhere to get anything. Oh, most of the news articles are in Spanish. Bummer. Yeah, I'll have to dig into it, see what I can find. You too. Every time I hear him comment about Maddie's beauty, just hearing his voice triggers me so much. When you know the images that were recovered on his phone, and we're talking thousands and thousands of images, for him to bring up that birthmark really is sickening. It's beyond sickening. It's horrible. And she, yeah, I would happily slap that woman out. It's bringing back so much anger. I'm right back where I was when I was covering this case every day. Back to the anger, the horror, the heartbreak. Yes. Stephanie was, if you look at the time on the body cameras between when they finished talking to Jenn and Stephan late in the evening and then went to Stephanie's place, and when they saw Juan first, really only a few minutes away, wasn't she? It was really, really close. It was like pretty much out the back gate. Yeah, the beauty mark is how they identified Maddie in the field.
Dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, has a beauty mark under the nose.
I'm getting a random 407 number. Okay. Hello? Yes? Hi, Principal. I'm okay. How are you? No, we're with police officers here right now.
Get started in the
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find her
paperwork.
anything.
Does she have any social media or anything like that?
She has Instagram.
Bring it.
Private,
It is private.
just family,
Thank you
cousins,
so much. I
friends.
definitely appreciate it.
Right here.
That's her profile?
Yeah.
Okay. Any Snapchat or
Let me get no, that's the daughter's phone.
She plays like Minecraft.
They didn't know Stephan was going to be there. So Stephan had moved out of the apartment in December him and Jenn had been broken up for quite some time, and he'd been living upstairs in the guest bedroom, as Jenn would call it, bedroom number 4. And then in December, his father just turned around and said, look, what you're earning at your job at Disney is a pittance. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. And we don't want to keep paying rent for you to stay in Jen's townhouse. So they basically moved him back home down to Northport. Stephan, they had this prearranged visit, and Jenn didn't tell any of her family that Stephan was coming. So when Maddie's aunt dropped her off at the townhouse, it was just the regular cars outside the townhouse. No sign of Stephan's vehicle, although it wasn't even his vehicle. He didn't come up in his own vehicle. So Maddie's family just, Jen's family didn't know that Stephan was going to be there. The first they knew of Stephan being there was when Jen's reporting Maddie missing. And I do wonder, because we know that none of Jen's family likes Stephan. And I wonder if, had they known Stephan was going to be there, for starters, I don't think Stephanie would have left Maddie there alone in the apartment with Stephan. Possibly because there is also that issue of one of the flatmates having seen that Maddie and Stephan were alone in the upstairs bedroom when Jenn wasn't home, and she'd messaged Jenn and said, are you aware of this? And Jenn had messaged her back and said, you're good. And this flatmate was best friends with Stephanie, Jen's sister, and she told Stephanie. But apparently there was no response from Stephanie over that. Yeah, I bet Yolanda does regret letting her go home that night. Yeah, no 13-year-old needs help showering and getting ready for bed. Now, this was one of the things that really made me angry with Jenn Soto. Maddie was doing so much better at school. And in one of her interviews with the detectives, on one hand, Jenn is saying how much better at school Maddie is doing. And then she's turning around and saying that we want to bring Stephan back to live with us because we miss him. Yes, I had heard that Jenn was living with Stephanie, although, and I'm just going to say this because I really don't care. The most recent time that I looked her up, she's coming up with at Yolanda's address. So it seems that she is living with either Stephanie or Yolanda, or maybe switching between both. Yeah, Maddie was still talking to Stephan every day. They were still FaceTiming Stephan. And Jenn avoids trying to give answers, but basically there were times when Maddie was talking to Stephan without Jenn there. Yes, I wish Jenn was living with Stephan again. No, because he's in such a cushy place. She needs to be somewhere worse than that, and he needs to be somewhere worse than that, in my opinion. Good on you, Summer Breeze. I am horrified that there is content creators who bully subscribers. I actually had an email come through yesterday or the day before, and I have to apologise to everyone. I'm way behind catching up on messages and emails. I have to say that. I had an email come through the other morning, and I looked at it and I'm like, well, why are you emailing me about something from like a year ago? And I emailed her back and I thought it was just some sort of confusion. I said, this was a year ago. And she messaged me back and she said, this content creator is still bullying me. Now, this is not connected with Lily and Jack. This is connected with Maddie Soto. And this was one of my subscribers saying that she was still being bullied by a content creator from way back when she was being bullied by this content creator over 12 months ago. It's not acceptable. Content creators should not ever be doing stuff like that. Yeah, the Watts case was a crazy mess, and the phone calls, and I might touch on some of them at one point. Stephan doesn't take responsibility. I will at one point in time go through his poem or whatever it was. He still claims. He told his mother that he went out for a break or something like that, and when he got back, Maddie was cold. Complete utter BS. He should have been made to go to trial over this, because he's never had to face up to what he did. By avoiding trial, by being able to plead no contest, he never had to face up to it. And not only that, and I will never ever forgive Judge Carson for this, it is up to a judge when they are sentencing someone to spend the time beforehand and really think about their sentencing speech. Really, really cover the issue of why that person has been convicted and why that person is going to jail. When I heard Judge Carson, it sounded to me like all he did was just reiterate a little bit of what Tyler said. There was never any attempt to put Stephan's actions back on him. It just makes me so angry. And why, neither the judge or the prosecutor objected when Stephan was having his little victim impact statement in the court. How they allowed that to continue, especially in front of all Maddie's family, I will never understand. You believe it was Tyler and Tatiana who allowed the plea deal due to the graphic nature of what the jury would see. I can understand that. Were they aware that it was going to be no contest? Was that explained to them what that meant? Because Jenn knew the whole time. Anyway, we'll keep going with some of this.
20 minutes until the sun's going to set, and dozens of volunteers are still out there looking for 13-year-old Madeline Soto. They've been out there all day in a wooded area near Hunters Creek in Orange County. Good evening. I'm John Brown.
And I'm Lou Ann Sorrell. Deputies have officially called off their search for the day. Fox 35's Caroline Coles is joining us live tonight. So, Caroline, the girl's family is just terrified that she could be in danger.
Yeah, just like any family would be. They're nervous, they're scared, they're worried. They just are hoping and praying that they find her safe and, most importantly, alive.
I really don't think she would have ever done anything like that, to just pick up and run away with no trace of anything.
50 hours and count.
Sorry, I just should point out that's Maddie's aunt. That's not Maddie's mother. Yeah, we support you so much here, Summer. I cannot do with bullying, whatever, any way whatsoever. Yeah, Astro, I'm not going to put that up, but you can't help wondering why have Maddie sleep between Jenn and Stephan? There's so many red flags with this case. But yes, this is Maddie's aunt talking to the media. She did look so beautiful in this picture, but she also looks so exhausted. The dark eyes. Yeah, I wish the deal had have gotten Jenn behind bars.
That's how long it's been since 13-year-old Madeline Soto was reported missing. On Wednesday, family, friends, and dozens of deputies searched several areas around Orange County. And still, no sign of the teenager.
I'm trying to believe that she is still alive out there.
Maddie was last seen Monday morning after being dropped off near her school by her mother's boyfriend. But after drop-off, Maddie never made it to school. Maddie's mother telling us surveillance video shows Maddie hanging out in a church parking lot on Monday morning after being dropped off for school, but she never made it inside.
Now, that was a nice little bit of positioning from detectives. So, Stephan had claimed that he dropped Maddie off about a block from the school. And then you can hear in one of the interviews with Jenn, they show her footage from a church near the school. But I don't think they showed her all the footage. No, they must have shown her all the footage. They show her footage from a church near the school. And it's really grainy footage. You cannot tell who the person is that's being dropped off. But not only that, the vehicle, and you can hear this conversation, the vehicle is a dark vehicle. And it's definitely not Stephan's vehicle that is the vehicle that is seen dropping this person off. But they still approached Jenn with it and showed her the footage. And to me, that was them trying to position things. I think they were already starting to suspect things weren't right. I'm not sure if that was before or after they had the CCTV footage of Stephan discarding Maddie's backpack and crock and things in the dumpster. But they showed Jenn this footage. And her and Stephan ran with it. And the detectives actually never said that they believed it was Maddie. They said, could it be? But they also pointed out to Jenn, oh, this car doesn't look right. And Jenn agreed the car didn't look right. But in those first few days before Stephan got arrested, Jenn and Stephan ran with this story of the footage showing Maddie being dropped off at the church and then wandering towards the school, even though they knew full well that wasn't the situation. So I just wanted to clarify that bit as we got to it.
If she's somewhere safe, that I have high doubts.
Why do you say that?
Just because of the world we live in right now, everything's really crazy.
Sheriff's deputies are using canines and a piece of Maddie's clothing to try to track her scent in the Hunters Creek area. And just like the family, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is also concerned for Maddie's safety, especially after finding troubling messages on Maddie's phone.
There is information on the phone that indicated that she told people when she turned 13, which was on February 22nd, she actually wanted to go live in the woods.
Sheriff Mina says
She told her friends she wanted to go live in the woods because Jenn had told her at one point that she was going to send her to go live with her father. Jenn had also told her that when she turned 18, she was going to throw her out of the house. Jenn was not a loving mother. Oh yeah, this case really was blessed with stupid criminals. Best bit of positioning ever with showing Jenn that footage and watching the pair of them run with it. Even after pointing out to Jenn, oh, that doesn't look like Stephan's car though, does it? And Jenn agreed. They really were utter morons. And yet Jenn is still walking free.
collected video from where she went missing and will continue to extensively look for Maddie until they locate her.
We're worried about where she is and what, I mean, God forbid, but what's happening to her, if anyone has her, if anything like that. It's gotten to a point where we're hoping that she is with someone that she knows.
Now, the family, of course, watched that press conference that we saw earlier from Sheriff Mina, and they text me saying, look, we hear what the sheriff is saying, but we want to let it be known and clear that Maddie would never, ever run away. So that's what they're putting out there. And again, they're hoping and praying that she returns home safely. Reporting live here in Orlando, I'm Caroline Coles, Fox 35 News.
Jenn, go ahead and tell us what's going on.
Okay. Oh yeah, the World War III discussion. That was Jenn's excuse for the Maddie saying that she wanted to go live in the woods. Jenn's really not good. She doesn't even come close to Daniel Martel in terms of making up stories to try and control the narrative. Jenn had said somewhere along the line that the reason Maddie said she wanted to go live in the woods was, it was only just this conversation that they'd had. Her and Maddie had this conversation that, if World War III happened, Maddie said, well, she would just go live in the woods. Like, Jenn's not a bright person. She's really not a bright person. Yeah, Summer Breeze, I'm with you on that. I cannot believe the way people just allow themselves to blindly be told what to think. Some of the channels that are on YouTube really show their true identities. I'll just put it at that. Yeah, it is a good thing that she was a bad liar. But that so many things where they could have just really nailed this woman. Well, I think there's a lot that the flatmates weren't saying. Especially Stephanie's best friend. She was aware of Stephan and Maddie being alone in that upstairs room together. And because Jenn said, oh, you're good, she just left it at that, I would have reported it. And I know that you'd be afraid of losing your home. But, and this is something that a lot of people don't realise, if you have to go and you report potential issues, you know, potential welfare issues with a child, whatever agency it is, whatever country you're in, one of the things they're going to ask you is, are they going to know, based on the information you're giving us, are they going to know that you're the one who reported them? And the thing is, if you say yes, they're going to know I'm the one that reported them based on what I've told. Those agencies are going to be careful how they address it. They may use a little white lie and say the child has disclosed this to a third party, which then takes it outside of that townhouse and takes the flatmate out of the equation. So people being afraid of reporting things because they are afraid that the person involved is going to figure out that they were the one that reported it. No. When you are working in these sort of areas, these people are trained to protect the people who report as well as the people that they are like the children that they are investigating. And I think that's something that is not well known, because I think there is always that fear that if you report, that they're going to find out it was you.
Maddie.
Well, Monday morning, we took her to school. We dropped her off close to school, across the street from a church, which is it's right next to the school. She crossed the street and walked to school, what we thought walked to school. My boyfriend who drove her to school drove away at that point. It was seen on video footage that she hung out in the parking lot of the church for a few minutes and then got up and walked towards the school. But she never made it that walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but
all the early statements were the we statements. In Jenn's first statement that she gave to police, again, she told them we dropped her off at school. When she contacted Maddie's best friend, she told Maddie's best friend, we dropped her off at school. Every time she told this story in the first couple of days, it was, we dropped Maddie off at school. When you get someone telling a narrative like that, and it's a we statement as opposed to individual people doing individual roles, that is a huge, huge signal that this is a fabricated narrative that they have agreed upon between them. Because Jenn was still in bed when Stephan left the townhouse at 7:30 in the morning with Maddie's body strapped in the passenger seat of his vehicle. In terms of Jenn and the sleep-in, yeah, Jenn got up at 9 o'clock. Her appointment was 9:35, I think, or no. Her appointment was later, but she got there really, really early. Now, Maddie didn't start school until 9:25, I think it was. Had Jenn just planned things to get up maybe 10 minutes earlier, given that she was quite happy to get to her appointment early and just sit in the car park prior to her appointment, it seems like it would have been really easy for her to get up and drive Maddie to school, and even if Maddie missed a few minutes at the start of the day, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Her appointment was for blood tests. We don't really know what sort of blood tests they were, but her appointment was for blood tests. Now, I've never really heard of a time when you actually have to make appointments to get blood tests. I always thought it was just you rock up, you get the tests done. It was 100% setting an alibi from the start. I believe whatever happened Sunday night. I think they went into planning mode after that. No, she didn't have she didn't have her Botox. She was supposed to have a Botox appointment later that day, but she claims she cancelled it because she didn't want to fork out whatever the money was. In my opinion, Jenn cancelled her Botox appointment so she could leave early and be parked at the front of the pickup line so that people would see her car in the pickup line, and that would make people believe that she thought Maddie was at school. You can reserve a time to lessen the waiting. Oh, that makes sense. There's so many red flags in terms of Jenn. Maddie apparently left her phone at home. And I will be going through the movements of the phone. Now, Jenn, who is a sloth, who I doubt ever did much cleaning up around the apartment, claims that she spotted Maddie's phone sitting on the table in Maddie's little nook, because Maddie didn't have a real bedroom. Jenn claims that she spotted that phone earlier that morning, and so she took it with her to give it to Maddie when she picked Maddie up. That story to me is unlikely as well. Yeah, she didn't need the Botox anyway. Yeah. These two are both definitely responsible. And Jenn really should not have walked away from this. She should have been.
Made it. And that was the last anyone's seen of her or heard from her?
Yes. I went to pick her up after school, and she wasn't there. So I started driving around, maybe thinking she took a walk. Maybe she decided to walk to my mom's office, which is pretty close to the school as well.
She didn't have a bedroom. Wait till you see. I don't have any of the photos on this MacBook. Wait till you see the photos of Maddie's not bedroom. This is a girl just heading into her teenage years. All they did was put a bed in the living area. There was an empty room upstairs, a guest room, which was, became Stephan's room. But even before then, even before it became Stephan's room, it was kept empty. While Stephan was sharing Jenn's room. But instead of giving Maddie the upstairs room, what they did was they put a bed in the living room. And they just put dividers across. So that essentially Maddie was sleeping, or if she ever slept in there, was sleeping in the living room. With only these dividers to give her privacy. Where did her birthday money and gifts go to? One of Jenn's stories about Sunday night is that they sat there counting Maddie's birthday money. I personally don't believe that. I wouldn't be surprised if Maddie's birthday money paid for their hotel. I think I really do wish that Jenn was prosecuted over this. There is no way of looking at this case and saying that had it not been for Jenn, I mean, I need to rephrase that. When you look at this case, you cannot take Jenn out of the picture in terms of culpability. Because Jenn was condoning what was going on. Jenn was sending her daughter upstairs to sleep with this monster. She would never give a direct answer as to how often that occurred. But when you listen carefully to what she's saying, it was regular. Yeah, Maddie had no place, no privacy, no door to shut, nowhere to escape from this monster. Anyway, I'm going to keep going because I want to finish this interview at least. I won't move on to the one with Stephan. No, he didn't. He didn't. That's another bit of misinformation put out by Jenn. He reimbursed them for the cost of having the dog at the hotel. Jenn claimed that he actually paid for them to stay at the hotel because they didn't have money. But Chris actually, in his interview to detectives, not knowing that that's what Jenn said, basically said they'd already checked in, essentially. They paid for themselves, they paid for the dog, and then he reimbursed them for the cost of the dog. Same day that Sebastian went missing. That's why I didn't get into Sebastian's case so much, because I was up to my eyeballs in this case. Jenn had to know. What this monster was doing to Maddie, this went on for years. Years and years. I cannot understand how it is possible for her not to know. And we know that she did know, because of her comment to detectives where she said that she had said to Stephan that she was worried it was going to become a Woody Allen situation and that Stephan would leave her for Maddie. They did all stay at the same hotel. What happened was that Chris was en route to Orlando, and they actually rang him and said, "This is where we're staying." By the time he got there, they'd already checked themselves in. They'd paid for themselves, and he checked in, and then he reimbursed them for the cost of Sailor, the dog, because they had to pay a certain amount for the dog to stay there. His room was down the hallway from theirs, some distance. But basically, yeah, they all paid for themselves. Yeah, and this is the thing that gets people. Yeah, I'll come back to that in a minute about Chris. This is what people get so upset about with this case. She condoned it. When Jenn wanted the bed to herself, her king-size bed, it wasn't a case of, well, Stephan, you go sleep upstairs and Maddie and I will have the bed, or I'll go and sleep upstairs on my own, or Stephan and I can... There were options, but instead she sent Maddie upstairs with Stephan every time. Chris is Stephan Sterns' father. His parents are on par with Steve and Natalie Sharilla. They definitely interesting people.
Drove around and I didn't see anything. I drove back to the school. The school was closed. I emailed one of her teachers. They confirmed that she was absent all day. At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
Have you heard from like any of her friends? Has she been active on any social media?
She hasn't been active on social media, none of her chats, none of her games. We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. Yeah, there's no update.
And I have to ask this, and I know I hate doing it, but is she the type that would run away? Has this happened in the past or anything? Has she ever threatened to run away?
Never. She's never ever mentioned anything like this before, and she's
never mentioned anything like this before, but you know, she messaged a friend of I can't remember how long beforehand that when she turned 13 she was going to go live in the woods. So unconcerned. And this is just a narrative. She's just repeating a narrative. Like, unreal. And then Stephan just lurking in the background. At one stage, he's like flexing his muscles, or cracking his knuckles, and
the type to want to do this. She.
Hang on, I'll just run that bit back a little bit.
We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. Yeah, there's no update.
And I have to ask this, and I know I hate doing it, but is she the type that would run away? Has this happened in the past or anything? Has she ever threatened to run away?
Never. She's never ever mentioned anything like this before, and she's not the type to want to do this.
She's not the type to want to do this. They're not the type of kids to go and play outside or whatever Malaya said. Yeah, the other children children that were missing had basically just gone to the park. And they were found and they were returned home. That was sort of no big deal, apparently. On his phone, On his phone too, as in the things that were found, or him being on his phone while she's doing the interview? What they found on his phone, we are talking thousands and thousands and thousands of images and videos depicting him doing things to Maddie. I have to be careful how I word it, and I know it's triggering, but there was lots of stuff on his phone, and that was after him factory resetting his phone twice. Yeah, we know that Jen's saying utter bull there. Yeah, any guy that wears his hat backwards like that is definitely a creep. And I hope they burned that cap after they took it off him, because it looks so gross and manky.
She did accidentally leave her phone on Monday, which is kind of normal for her. She's got ADHD and very forgetful.
No, the detectives checked, and they actually called Jenn out on this. Maddie rarely forgot her phone. I just want to point that out, and I won't go into it too much. But again, another lie from Jenn.
So she left her phone at home, so there's no way to trace her. They tried tracing her school laptop, but that's off, so it's not pinging to anything.
Jenn, what is your fear? I know you mentioned she's on game.
Now, that's something I hadn't, or if I did pick up on it before, maybe I've just forgotten about it. He is so dirty. He's just so gross. First of all, when she's talking about the phone being off, she's not saying there's no way of trying to contact her. She said there's no way of tracing her. Huge, huge, huge red flag to me. If you thought your daughter was just missing and she didn't have her phone, the thing in your head would be there's no way of contacting her, not there's no way of tracing her. And then Jenn says so very confidently that her laptop is turned off. How did she know the laptop was turned off? Given that at this point in time, that was in a dumpster. She claims that, well, Maddie wasn't on the laptop the night before. So how does she know it was turned off?
And stuff. Do you think she could have met somebody and tried to meet up with them?
She's open to us. She's open with us about, if she's got a crush with anyone, and she told us she had a crush on someone at school. And I looked at their messages, nothing was weird. I looked at all of her messages, all of her deleted messages. Nothing seemed weird. It didn't seem like she was talking to anyone. So I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like she may have been taken.
You looked at all her messages, Jenn. And according to Maddie's friends, Maddie was quite often messaging with Stephan during the day, but apparently that wasn't a red flag to you, was it?
Because this is not like her at all, to just disappear and not tell us, not let us know where she's going or who she's with. Yeah.
What are you getting from?
What's with the smirk? The squinting with her eyes. So the little smirk, it's that whole, she's showing some sort of contempt right there. From whether it's for Maddie or whether it's for Stephan. But there's some contempt. Given that she's talking about Maddie, it sounds like she's actually showing contempt for her own daughter.
Law enforcement, are they actively searching for her? I mean, what happens now? I mean, especially that she doesn't have her phone with her.
So as far as I know, they're conducting a search around the school. Behind the school, there's a Shingle Creek. There's a wooded path area that you could walk. It's a hiking path. They are going back there with their canine dogs. They've taken a piece of her clothing to see if they can trace her scent. They're also taking their own vehicles. I'm not sure what type of vehicles, but they're going into the woods to search for her. But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help, because I'm desperate. I'm a wreck right now.
So you think that she's been taken against her will?
I'm a wreck right now, she says, calmly. Now, if she was truly distressed over her daughter being missing, that would be the point when she would break down in tears. But no, because it's all, she's just reciting it. There's nothing going on there in that teeny tiny little brain of hers. Yeah, I believe they were all stoned at this point in time. But just the way she's just reciting, this is all just utter BS from this woman. Yeah, she's wrecked. She's not a wreck. Well done. Well said.
I do think so, yes.
As a mom, you know, what's your mother's intuition telling you right now?
I'm trying to hope for the best, but I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay, and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed. I just want her back, whatever that means. I just want her back.
I just want her back, whatever that means. I don't want her to come back harmed. Jen's really bad with the fake crying. You can see there's no tears. But not only that, when someone starts becoming emotional, what you're going to see usually is this thing going on with their chin. The chin sort of comes forward and the lips tuck in, and you start to see a change, like you see the ridges up above their eyes and everything. Not seeing any of that from Jenn. It's just the sudden put on with the squeaky voice. And then when she wipes her imaginary tears, one side she does get her eye, the other side she just kind of gets it sort of vaguely in the vicinity. She's the worst actress in the world. And if you've ever heard me mention the Soto side, this is where this comes from. I don't think you hear it so much in these interviews, but when we dig into the interviews with her and detectives, you're going to hear the Soto side.
Are you getting any updates from law enforcement? I mean, yes, they're searching that small area, but have they gotten any hits on any scent or anything like that?
They haven't let me know anything. They haven't updated me since I spoke to them this morning. I've contacted them to get some information or to give them some leads, but I've heard nothing back.
Notice now she's forgotten that she's meant to be upset. And she's also forgetting as she goes along to put the voice on. Now, if you had a moment in this interview that's going to trigger you over the fact that your child's missing and you're suddenly going to become emotional, you're not going to turn it on and off like that. Yes, looking like Durwood in Janie's interview. Good point.
And Jenn, there's no way that she just being, a teenager was like, maybe had a fight with you or an argument with you and was like, you know what, I'm going to go hang out at so-and-so's house and teach her a lesson. Could that be a scenario?
I don't believe so. We actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks or arguments or anything like that. If anything, on Sunday, she celebrated her 13th birthday with my entire family and she had the best day.
Not with you though, Jen, because you didn't want to get the time off work. Because you used to find it overwhelming hanging out with your family. So you decided to go with the excuse of, I have to work, rather than turn up for your daughter's 13th birthday. And now she puts this whole story out to make it sound like it was such a wonderful experience, deflecting from the fact that she didn't turn up, deflecting from the fact that Maddie was actually quite upset during that party. Although it sounds like she hid that from the family. It sounds like she shared that with her friends when they went to the park. But you'll notice too the narrowed eyes, and there is definitely a lot of asymmetry going on. This woman resented her daughter. That is a damn good question. The interview's not with him. Why was he lurking? He wanted to have an interview. He wanted to be the center of attention. This had to have been the day after Maddie went missing, because they closed up the townhouse. Maddie went missing she was reported missing on the Monday. Jenn and Stephan went back to the townhouse Monday night. The police turned up. They did a body cam interview with Jenn and Stephan. And not long after that, Stephan left in Jenn's car and returned to where he'd left Maddie. So that was the Monday night. The Tuesday night, they were shut out of the apartment. And they locked down the apartment and did forensic on it. Now, they had to stay in a hotel. And it was from the hotel where detectives collected Jenn and Stephan, said they were taking them to a press conference. And what they did, they put them in separate interview rooms, interviewed them, and that's when Stephan got arrested. So this has to have been the day after Maddie went missing. This has to have been on the Tuesday, because that's the only time the pair of them would have been in this apartment. And that's the only time Stephan would have been in the apartment. Yeah, she hasn't held down a job in years, and suddenly it's super important after 2 days of training. And I'm sorry, but most mothers would turn around and say, look, can I please not be scheduled for this time because it's my daughter's 13th birthday. 13 is a big birthday. It's an important birthday for kids. Yeah, it's Tuesday. It could only be Tuesday because when you look at the timeline, they were locked out of the townhouse Tuesday afternoon. And then after that, Stephan was arrested. So definitely it was the day after.
So happy. She showed us all her gifts. She's just a happy girl, and she showed it on Sunday night when she went to bed. She was so happy. So, she had the best day. I just, there was no moment in that evening from when she got home from the party that she had her phone or had the laptop. She went straight to getting ready and went to bed. So I know she didn't have any conversations with anyone. She didn't make plans with anyone. I didn't see any of that.
That just is, and I missed that when I was looking at all Jen's stories for the Sunday night. She said here, Maddie didn't go on her laptop or she wasn't on her phone. She just went straight to bed. Maddie got home at 8:30. If Maddie went straight to bed, Well, Jenn didn't get home till around 11 o'clock. Was it 10:30 or 11 o'clock? Jenn didn't get home till 2 hours or more after Maddie got home from her party. Meaning, had Maddie truly got herself organised and gone straight to bed, Jenn wouldn't have seen her when she got home from work. So this contradicts her stories that she was telling. Jen's Sunday night is like Daniel, Malaya and Janie's Thursday evening. She never talks about trinket. Well, sorry, she talks about trinkets. She just talks about gifts. It's all very vague. In this instance, she's not saying, oh, and we also counted her birthday money. There's so few details about Sunday night from Jenn, and they change. At one point, Jenn says that she got home and that there was a sub sandwich waiting for her or whatever it was, and she ate that alone in her room. Well, if she ate that alone in her room, where were Maddie and Stephan? But then she claims she got home and Stephan and Maddie were hanging out in her room and she hung out with them. Things just do not add up with this woman. She should not be walking free.
She spent the whole Sunday celebrating her 13th birthday. Was her 13th birthday on that Sunday, or that was just like the time you guys were celebrating?
That was the time we were celebrating. Her birthday was on Thursday, the 22nd.
Okay,
She just turned 13.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's gone. The last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go now? Are you gonna go out there and search or look, or what is are you sticking by the phone? Are you what are you doing?
I'm staying at home, staying by the phone, hoping she just appears.
Yeah, I'm staying at home because I'm going into hiding.
I know my entire family is out looking. They've all spread a bunch of flyers. I've had people contact me that they've gone to the international airport to spread flyers, to Amtrak, to Greyhound, just any way that if someone's taken her and they're trying to take her, just to show her face, just to make sure, she's not being taken against her will.
And you mentioned ADHD. Was there anything else?
Yes, you would get more of a reaction from a dog. Now, here she is speculating about Maddie possibly being abducted, her being taken against her will. No emotion whatsoever. No tears. No struggling with saying it. There's the woman. I don't have the words for what I think of this woman. I really don't.
Be mentally going on, or that you knew of?
She does suffer from anxiety, and once upon a time she was diagnosed with autism. We had her what's the word?
Brained, maybe?
Reevaluated.
Okay.
We had her reevaluated a few months ago, actually, and they told us no, she didn't have autism, but she did have some autistic traits. She did.
You got it in one. Oh my gosh. That is the best description of Jenn Soto I have ever come across. And Stephan Sterns. They are both malignant couch potatoes. Him especially, but face it, she is too. She did not get off her ass once to go and search, to go and put up posters. She did 2 interviews and went to ground. And I suspect that she went to ground after Detectives O'Malley and Tagler spoke to her because she realised that they were onto her. Yeah, I actually did, there's a video in Maddie's playlist where I actually did a conversation, or I spoke about whether it was ADHD or whether it was complex post-traumatic trauma syndrome. What he put her through for all those years, that child had PTSD. And yet nobody picked up on it. I know quite often PTSD is misdiagnosed as ADHD. There is possibility that she could have also had ADHD, because sometimes being neurodivergent can make children more susceptible to that kind of abuse. But definitely PTSD. You've got to admit, though, beagles have more personality than most dogs. So even saying your beagle had more personality, I'd be looking more at like a those the bloodhound dogs, you know, the ones with the droopy ears that are just like and there's like a cartoon character of that one of them. But probably unfair on the beagle, because beagles have got so much more personality than so many other breeds of dogs. Basset hound, that's the one. I think a basset hound would be the best way to go. Basset hounds show more personality than Jenn.
ADHD, some autistic traits, but not autism. So I'm not sure where to leave with that, because one doctor said she did and one doctor saying she doesn't, and I don't know. She's just in the middle, I guess, because she does have some tendencies, but socially she's pretty great.
That weed's really kicking in for her now, isn't it?
So I'm not sure.
And with the video that you were able to see whenever your boyfriend dropped her off, where was that? Which video? Was that a surveillance camera?
It was a surveillance camera from the church, Peace Church, right next to Hunters Creek Middle School.
And do you have that video?
I don't have that. They didn't show me. They wouldn't show me. It was actually my sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they saw on camera.
Okay.
But they didn't show it to any of us.
Got it. Okay. Jenn, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Please, 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 if you have any information, contact me, contact law enforcement. Any information helps. Maddie, if you see this, please come home. Please be safe. I love you very much. If you have my Maddie, please just let her come home. We just want her home.
I won't go on to that one. I will do that one in my next Maddie live stream. So I will aim to do another Maddie live stream next Monday. You got the Soto sigh there. Is there anything else you want to say, Jenn? And we get the Soto sigh. Such an imposition to actually have to plead with the public for help finding your missing child. Like, honestly. It is so true. She was just, well and truly gone. Oh, your dog Daisy's in doggy heaven now. That's sad. Yeah, And it was almost like Daniel with the, and the message is still, but the sigh before actually making this really hollow plea for people to help find her daughter. It is so Jenn Soto. It is just, Maddie deserves so much better than these people. Unfortunately, that's usually what you see in these situations with someone like Sterns. He was after the package deal. He wasn't after Jenn. He would have been interested because she had this gorgeous little 7-year-old daughter. It's heartbreaking, it truly is. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. There's a lot more to this story, and I will be coming back to it. I'm going to make Mondays Maddie's Monday. And I'm just going to, when I finish going through the whole story of the case, I'm going to be really focusing back in on Jenn Soto. And focusing in on the betrayal of this mother. Focusing in on the fact that this woman should have been locked up. Because she really, really should. So thanks for coming in. Please hit the like button on your way out. Please share this. Certainly, anytime you can share my content on any of your social media, that's definitely helping me out. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you're listening on replay, or even if you just want to come back and add a comment, leave a comment in the comments section. Even if it's just a little green heart and a little purple heart for Maddie. You've probably seen people putting those when we talk about Maddie. They were Maddie's favourite colours. So thanks for coming in, and I'll catch you in the next one.